What's going on, everybody? My name is Monatui, coach of the Tampa Bay Luxrays, and today I'm bringing you guys our PPL Season 4 Week 5 team builder versus Jack, aka the Don Fanatic, coach of the Norwich Skitty. If you have not checked him out already, please do so. His link will be in the description below. He is actually the founder of the Pokemon, and he has definitely improved since Season 1 of Pokemon Premier League, which I was actually not in. I joined Season 1 of Division 2, which is PPL D1 Season 2, but enough about that. Let's get into Jack's roster real quick. It's a very interesting team, very scary team as well. Jack has Mega Gallade, Skarmory, Aromatisse, Donphan, Arcanine, Heliolisk, Noivern, Crawdaunt, and Metagross. So a lot of big names on that team. I don't think it particularly synergizes all that well, but he does have very good individual mons. Like, all of those mons can be considered solid Pokemon, depending on your opinion of Noivern, of course. But it is a very solid team. He does have a lot of good bulk. He has a lot of offensive presence. Pretty much everything can hit hard, bar the Skarmory, and even Skarmory's Brave Bird can hit decently hard. Like I said, he does have a lot of bulk priority hazards, so he's got a lot of different things going for him that are very scary and very difficult to deal with. However, I believe I've built a team of 6 that will be able to take on whatever team of 6 Jack decides to bring. So let's get right into that. We are starting off with our Thundurus Incarnate. This is a mon I knew that was coming right away because it absolutely destroys his team. I'm able to outspeed Mega Gallade by 1 point and hit that thing with a Thunderbolt for a 2 KO. Skarmory is O-Code by T-Bolt. Aromatisse is 2 KO'd by everything I have unless it's fully specially defensive. But even then, Sludge Wave 2 KOs is fully specially defensive, so it doesn't matter. Donphan 2 KO'd by Grass Knot, or possibly O-Code once the Sturdy is broken. Arcanine is 2 KO'd by T-Bolt. Heliolisk O-Code by Superpower, and I will be able to outspeed it if it is not Scarfed. Noivern O-Code by Thunderbolt. Noivern 2 KO'd by Thunderbolt. I O-Code it after Rocks, I believe. Crawdaunt O-Code, and then Metagross is 2 KO'd by Thunderbolt if it is not Assault Vest. So this is just a gigantic threat to his team. It outspeeds every single thing on his team, bar the Noivern, which is really, really nice, or of course bar Scarfers, like if he brings a Scarfed Heliolisk, something like that. So this is just a gigantic threat to his team. I originally had Knockoff over Superpower, but I wanted the ability to O-Code Heliolisk because that's actually probably the biggest threat to my team. He has a lot of big threats to my team, but as you can see, we're not bringing Piloswine. Heliolisk has coverage to hit that anyway, so it's going to be very difficult for me to deal with, and it's going to be very difficult to deal with. Kind of like last week, we weren't bringing our ground type when my opponent has scary electric type. We're doing the same thing this week, just because it didn't fit super great on the team. Like, Skarmory sets up hazards versus it easily, Mega Gallade hits it, Aromatisse steps up on it, Heliolisk, like I said, has things like Focus Blast, Grass Knot, Surf to hit it. Noivern drops a Draco on it, even though I can check it. Crawdaunt is just, it's set up fodder for Crawdaunt, and it just destroys my life, and then Metagross beats it 1v1. So it wasn't the best mon to bring versus him anyway, but with that out of the way, yeah, that's why I'm not bringing Piloswine. But moving on to the second member of our team. Once again, we're going to be going with Hazard Stack this week, and we are bringing all of our hazards onto our Forretress. We are running a Rocky Helmet Forretress, physically defensive, with Volt Switch, and then all the hazards the Forretress gets. T-Spikes, Spikes, and Stealth Rock. His hazard removal is not great versus my team. It's good in general, like Skarmory plus Donphan is nice, Defogger, Rapid Spin, but versus my team, I feel like I match up against it very well. Skarmory is a free switch into Thundurus, which, like I said, is the biggest threat to his team. So if he wastes the turn going for Defog, then that's really good for me. Plus, if rocks are not up on my side of the field, I just get a free switch in every time. Click Thunderbolt or Grass Knot or Sludge Wave or whatever, and I'm doing a ton of damage. If he has Donphan, to go for the Rapid Spin, I do have Jellicent to block it. So his hazard removal does not match up very well versus my team, which is really nice and something I'm going to take advantage of. Because his team is relatively hazards weak. His team's kind of weak to rocks, as well as T-Spikes. T-Spikes especially, he does not have a poison type, and getting out the layer of T-Spikes will help out my Jellicent, which does have Hex, spoiler alert on that, which will be very nice, and also it's just nice to whittle his bulk down. Like things like the Donphan, the Aromatisse will be forced to go for Heal Bell, and even then, once it comes back in, it'll be repoisoned. The Crawdaunt, things like that. Spikes are also very nice versus his team, because he does have a few rock resists in Metagross and Donphan, so Spikes can be very useful as well. And depending on what Pokemon is in, I can just keep setting up hazards. Like if it's, if I'm in versus Mega Gallade, I can take a Fire Punch, set up a hazard or something like that, deal with it. Skarmory, if it does not have Taunt, I can set up hazards versus, and if he goes for Defog to get rid of him, I get a slow Volt Switch out into something like my Thundurus to deal with it. If Heliolisk is in, I can take one hit and set up my rocks or something like that. Basically, I take a hit, set up rocks. Hopefully, I'll be able to set up all 3 of my hazards. I don't expect to, but that would be ideal. At least 2. if I had to pick 2 hazards that I'd want to get up, it would be Stealth Rock and Toxic Spikes. So that is that. And like I said, I'm not too worried about not being able to touch the Donphan because I do have the Jellicent to just spin block that thing every time. So, and if it does go for the knockoff, you'll see I have Cobra Berry on this later on. I've given away pretty much my entire Jellicent set, and I haven't even got to it yet, but this is our Fortress. Made to be bulky, made to get chip damage off on things like Donphan's Rapid Spin, like Gallade's attacks, like Skarmory's hits, even Crawdaunt or something like that wants to come in, Metagross, things like that. So this is our Fortress. Hopefully it'll be putting in some work. Hopefully it'll get up the hazards I needed to get up. And with that being said, let us now move on to a pretty big win condition. We are going with Mega Altaria here. We are running a special agility Mega Altaria with Hyper Voice, Fire Blast, Agility, and Roost. So originally I was going to go with Dragon Dance, but Dragon Dance can't really touch the Mega or the Skarmory. Also can't really hit the Metagross, so I need Return, Earthquake, and Fire Blast, and then if I have Dragon Dance, I don't have Recovery and Roost, which is unfortunate, so I decided that Special was overall going to be the better option for me. Special's a little bit better for his team anyway. I can knock out Mega Gallade with Hyper Voice if it is like a sub bulk up set and it goes for sub. I will be able to hit it from behind a sub super effectively with the Hyper Voice. It does more damage to the Donphan, 2 KOs if it's not Assault Vest. Aromatisse I can 2 KO if it's physically defensive. Skarmory I kill with Fire Blast after rocks if it is physically defensive. If it's Spadef, it still does not take it and cannot knock me out in return. Noivern I will be able to take any hit from, including Specs Hurricane, and knock that thing out with the Hyper Voice. It's a very good check to Crawdaunt as well. Nothing he can do with Crawdaunt will OHKO me, even if he gets the +2. Aqua Jet's not doing a ton of damage because of Altaria's natural bulk plus the resistance. So this is a very big threat to his team. The only thing that can really stop this thing is his Arcanine, and if he's a defensive Arcanine, which I kind of expect him to be, he can't do a lot of damage to my Jellicent. Like, Wild Charge will not be doing a ton, and if he is defensive, I'll actually be able to outspeed it. Once again, giving things away about my Jellicent when I haven't gotten to it yet, but that is our Mega Altaria, very big threat to his team. With Rocks up, he doesn't even necessarily want to switch into Arcanine, and if he's forced to go for Morning Sun, I can capitalize on that very nicely. So that is our Mega Altaria. We also have Agility, which can come in clutch late game. Like, there are a couple things I can set this up versus. I can set it up versus things like Crawdaunt, like Mega Gallade or whatever. I can go for an Agility, because, like, a big thing about Altaria versus his team is it's kind of slow. It outspeeds a good number of things, but he can, like, go into Gallade and Ice Punch me, get rid of me. He can go into Noivern and Hurricane me and possibly knock me out if I'm weakened. So if I'm able to set up Agility, he won't be able to do that because not a lot of his priority hits me hard. Like E-Speed kind of hits me hard. Ice Shard from Donphan does very little. Aqua Jet from Crawdaunt, not a lot. And then Bullet Punch from Metagross can't knock me out in one hit. So if I'm able to set up Agility, I hopefully will be able to sweep through the rest of his team, depending on what he has left. But it's mainly it's there just as a kind of like as an extra little possible win button. I originally had Cotton Guard there just to take hits from these things better, but I feel like I would rather have an Agility up than a Cotton Guard, because then still things like Noivern can come in and Hurricane me, still things like Aromatisse can come in regardless and deal with me, so I'd rather just have the Agility up. Now, with that being said, we are now moving on to the next Pokemon on our team. Definitely a very interesting one, though. I've given away like most of this thing already. We're running a speedy offensive Colverberry Jellicent with 3 attacks, Recover, Scald, Hex, Dazzling Gleam, and Recover. I do have T-Spikes on my Fortress, which will boost the power of Hex. Also, if I Scald Burn anything, that'll be extra useful as well, which is very nice. I'm running Speedy for a couple of reasons. One, I want to be able to outspeed Jolly Crawdaunt. If it is Scarf Crawdaunt, I'll live with the Colverberry, be able to hit it with a Dazzling Gleam, and come close to knocking it out. I'll be able to knock it out with a Hazard Up. And also, I will be able to outspeed a defensive Arcanine. If he's fully defensive, no speed investment, I will be able to outspeed it. If he's offensive, he can knock me out with Wild Charge, but then the rest of my team deals with it a little bit easier, which is why I have that speed investment. Offensive Scald is also very nice. It does more damage to things like the Mega Gallade. Offensive Dazzling Gleam does a little bit more to Heliolisk. It won't do a lot because it has decent Spadef, and that's probably going to be the first switch into it, but if I predict that, go for Dazzling Gleam, get off maybe 25-30% onto it. If weakened, if I have hazards up, that's also really nice. Put it in range of priority for my Skuntank or Pursue Trap It or something like that. So it definitely has, so the offensive investment can definitely help in that regard. Also, Dazzling Gleam hits both the Noivern and the Crawdaunt, which is really nice. With the offensive investment, I 2-KO Noivern and I OHKO Crawdaunt with a little bit of prior damage, which is really nice. Also with Hex, I hit the Metagross super effectively. Not that he would want to switch this in on Metagross, or he would want to switch in his Metagross in on this thing, risking a Scald Burn, but I do have that to hit it super effectively. And really, Hex is also just there because once something is statused, I'll be able to do a ton of damage to it. Like, suppose something like Mega Glade is statused. He might think he can live a hit and then, or like live a Scald or something, live a Shadow Ball, and then set up in my face, but if he's taking an offensive status Hex, it's going to do a ton of damage, and I don't even think it'll be able to survive the Hex damage plus the status damage afterwards. So Hex is just a nice tech on there, of course also paired with Toxic Spikes, it's very nice. And yeah, I don't think there's too much else to go over. Scald to Scald burns things, kind of deals with Skarmory. I originally had Taunt on this thing, but I didn't want to not be able to hit Crawdaunt, because if that thing sets up like a Dragon Dance, then ow, my team. And yeah, this is the team, or this is the Jellicent, and I think it is going to work very nicely versus his team. Like I said, it does put in a decent amount of work. It can hit things relatively hard. It does outspeed Donphan as well, unless he's running like Jolly Max Speed Donphan, which I don't expect him to. So I'll be able to like Scald him before he's able to get off a knockoff or something like that. So that is our Jellicent. A very nice Mon for this team to have. Next up, we're going to go over a Mon that I struggled with so much. And originally I had Yanmega in this slot, because a Specs Tinted Lens Yanmega outsped most of his team, and 2-KO'd literally everything, or 2-KO'd or O-Code literally everything with Tinted Lens Specs Air Slash. But I realized Thundurus Incarnate dealt with all of the things that Yanmega dealt with, and Thundurus Incarnate is not 4 times weak to rocks. I didn't want to fit Spin on this team either, so I feel like Thundurus Incarnate just did a little bit better than Yanmega, even though it would have been nice. Like I said, Thundurus just dealt with everything that Yanmega dealt with, so while it would have been very nice, it would have been a little bit unnecessary. So instead of that, I realized, once again, I need something for Heliolisk. My team is really weak to Heliolisk. I need something for his Aromatisse. His team's very threatening. Offensively, his team is very threatening, particularly things like his special attackers. So I came up with this set, and each of these EVs has an explanation, and I will get into that in a little bit. So Poison Jab, Sucker Punch, Pursuit, and Fire Blast. Poison Jab for the Aromatisse as well as General Stab. Sucker Punch for priority, which is very, very nice. Pursuit is a big one, just to Pursuit trap a couple things like Metagross and possibly the Mega Gallade, but the big one is the Heliolisk, because Heliolisk is very physically frail. With this attack investment, I'll be able to get at least 66% off onto it with this Pursuit, which will be very nice, and I'll be weakening him a lot. If he goes for Volt Switch, I tank it and get off a lot more damage onto him than he gets onto me, which is really nice. I easily put him in range of Sucker Punch on the next turn, or I can just go for a safe Pursuit and knock him out on the following turn, even if he stays in. One boosted Pursuit and then one unboosted Pursuit should be able to knock him out. And then we have Fire Blast to hit the Skarmory. Now that is what our 68 special attack EVs are for. That guarantees a 2-KO on Skarmory that is not fully specially defensive. It might have, it doesn't have to be fully split F to not get 2-KO'd, but after rocks, it's a guaranteed 2-KO unless he's like fully specially defensive. The attack investment is enough to get a 2-KO onto Heliolisk with a boosted Pursuit plus an unboosted Pursuit. The 200 split F is there just to take hits from the Heliolisk a little bit better, which is going to be very, very important. I also take hits from the Aromatisse very well, can hard switch into that thing, start Poison Jabbing it, and then the 100 speed is there to outspeed a Jolly Max Speed Crawdaunt. So this is a very big, not necessarily a very big threat to his team, but it has multiple different roles, and I don't think he's going to see this type of a set coming. It works very, very well versus his team. Also, what's nice is his Heliolisk has no reason to not click Volt Switch versus my team, so I feel like if it's Skuntank versus Heliolisk, he's either going to hard switch out fearing the Sucker Punch or just go for the Volt Switch, which I will be able to Pursuit trap it. I doubt he's going to go right for something like a Hybrid Voice, and if he does, the only way he can possibly 2-KO me is with Specs. And if I go for Pursuit, I'm still getting off nice damage, and then I can follow up with a Sucker Punch and knock him out. The Skuntank just actually does a lot of work versus his team. Granted, I can't really touch the Donphan, and Metagross is kind of a problem, because even though I have like 3 super effective moves, they're not doing a ton to it. And obviously, I am no HP Rash, or Lonely Nature, so like, things like, I'm not a great switch into Skarmory, and I'm not going to be taking hits from Gallade very well at all, or the Arcanine. This thing isn't meant to take on those mobs. It's meant to take on the special attackers like Aromatisse, and the Heliolisk, and even the Noivern if I have to. And yeah, I think I've explained that relatively well. This spread I came up with, it took a very long time to complete it, but I feel like this specific EV spread, plus its moves, plus Assault Vest is going to be very useful versus Jack's team. Also, there's Aftermath, so even though I am physically very frail on this type of thing, if I do decide to sack this thing versus Gallade or something, he will at least be taking 25% on Aftermath. Even could be important versus Skarmory as well. Suppose he's at near full HP or whatever, he Brave Birds me, knocks me out, he's taking Aftermath, he's in range of a couple other things on my team, like Fire Blast from Mega Altaria. So this is just a very nice mon for his team in general. I know I've been saying that a lot, but it truly is a very nice team for his, very nice team, yeah. It's a very nice mon for his team in general, particularly for, like I said, his special threats, particularly the Heliolisk. So that is our Skuntank. Let us now move on to the last member of our team. This is another very big win condition. Thundurus was one, Mega Altaria sort of one. Mew here is also a very big win condition. We're running Culverberry Mew with Psyshock, Thunderbolt, Calm Mind, and Roost. We're running dual Culverberry. That's because I'm pretty convinced Mega Glade's coming and it's gonna knock off a lot. And I wanted to run leftovers on this thing because I'm running Calm Mind, but I'm 100% convinced at some point he's gonna knock me off, so there's really no point in running leftovers. Plus I can maybe bluff an Expert Belt set or something like that earlier on before I reveal any of my moves, but we're running Psyshock, T-Bolt, Calm Mind, Roost. Psyshock, T-Bolt hit his entire team, which is really, really nice. I set up on a lot. And I mean, genuinely, a lot. If he's not a setup Gallade, I just click. I apologize if you hear my fan, Jesus Christ. I set up on a lot. If his Gallade is not a setup Gallade, which I kind of expect it not to be because he needs a lot of coverage on that thing, then I'll be able to set up on that. Knockoff does not 2-kill me with the Culverberry. And after it's knocked off, it will not be able to 2-kill me afterwards, which is really nice. Jesus Christ, man, calm down, holy crap. Actually, I apologize. Let me go fix that real quick. Okay, we are back. I apologize for that. I'm not even sure if you guys could hear that, but it was really loud to me. But regardless, we set up on a lot on his team, which I think was the last point I was leaving off. If his Gallade is not Swords Dance or Bulk Up, I set up on that thing. I set up on the Skarmory easily, even if he has a taunt. If he is a taunt Skarmory, I'll be able to outspeed him on the first turn, get up a Calm Mind, he taunts me, I still hit him with super effective Thunderbolt, which is really nice. Thunderbolt will be doing some nice damage to the Crawdaunt as well. At +1, I knock it out guaranteed. I set up all over the Metagross bar, being Power Up Punch Metagross. I beat the Noivern after a Calm Mind easily, unless it's a Switcheroo variant. I set up on the Heliolisk after, if it's not Specs or Life Orb, and if it is, I beat it after one Calm Mind, which is really nice. Donphan, I take hits from easily and set up on. The Aromatisse, I set up on and beat 1v1 if it is a Calm Mind set, because I do have Psyshock, and it does not. I mean, I think it can run it, but it's not going to do anything to Mew. Arcanine, if he is defensive, I set up on it easily. If it is not, then I'll be able to find that out. We'll see what type of item it is. If it's running Flare Blitz, I'll be able to take that, not super well, but I will be able to take that and then switch out accordingly. Plus he's hurting himself, which is really nice. If he's Life Orb, we'll get to see that. This is going to pop up. I saw that coming. So this just sets up on a lot of his team. And this is also another thing I can possibly use to capitalize on his hazard removal. Because something like Donphan may want to spin versus this thing. And I'll be able to set up a Calm Mind on that. His Skarmory may want to defog, and like I said, I can deal with that. Even if his Skarmory is something like Whirlwind, I'll still be able to get off T-Bolt damage before it Whirlwinds me out, which is really nice. And he has a very, very good chance to Whirlwind me out into something favorable, because actually pretty much everything on my team deals with Skarmory now that I look at it as well. Thundurus deals with it, Fortress gets a slow Volt Switch, Altaria has Fire Blast, the Jellicent has Offensive Scald, the Skuntank has Fire Blast. Everything on my team is meant to deal with his hazard removal, which is really, really nice. Donphan would be slightly more annoying as hazard removal, because he can knock off my Jellicent and can possibly 2-KO me with Earthquake, but it's still very nice versus this team, it's still going to have a hard time spinning because I do have a lot of coverage for it, a lot of special attacks to hit it with, and a couple things that set up on it. So that is going to be the team. This is our Mew. Like I said, sets up on a lot. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And definitely, like I said, check out Jack in the description below. He is a great guy, founder of the PPL, like I said earlier. So once again, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you in the match.